The internet thrives on drama. A few weeks ago, a shocking story went viral. A claim that a SeaWorld trainer named Jessica Radcliffe had been killed by an orca during a live show. The clip looked convincing, the kind of thing you'd expect from a news broadcast. Social media went wild. Millions watched, thousands shared, and people across the world mourned a woman who, in truth, never existed. Because here's the reality. Jessica Radcliffe was a hoax. She wasn't a real trainer, she wasn't part of SeaWorld staff, and no such incident ever happened. The video was a digital fabrication, stitched together with manipulated footage, AI voiceovers, and clever editing. It was fake news designed to shock and spread. But here's the chilling part, people believed it. Not just because the video looked real, but because the world has already seen tragedies just like it. The Jessica hoax worked because it echoed true, devastating events where orcas did kill their trainers. And those stories are far darker than any hoax. Let's start with one name, Alexis Martínez. In December of 2009, just a day before Christmas, Alexis was rehearsing a holiday show at Loro Parque, a marine zoo in Tenerife, Spain. He was 29 years old, young, ambitious, and deeply respected by his colleagues. Alexis had built his life around animals, dolphins, orcas, and the dream of connecting people with marine life. But on that day, his life ended in a violent instant. During what should have been a normal session, the orca Quito, a 6-ton male weighing more than 6,600 pounds, suddenly turned on him. Without warning, Quito rammed Alexis in the chest with unimaginable force. The blow crushed his ribs and internal organs. In moments, Alexis's body was lifeless in the water. The official reports were grim. This wasn't a simple slip or drowning. It was a brutal strike from a frustrated predator held in captivity. Alexis had no chance. For the staff at Loro Parque, the incident was devastating. To the public, it was shocking. But the world barely had time to process the tragedy before another would follow. Just 2 months later, in February 2010, the name Dawn Brancheau made international headlines. Dawn was one of SeaWorld Orlando's most experienced trainers. She had spent years working with orcas, and on the day she died, she was performing alongside the infamous whale Tilikum. Tilikum was already notorious. Captured from the wild in 1983, he had been involved in previous trainer deaths, including that of Kelty Byrne in Canada in 1991. Yet despite his history, he was still part of SeaWorld shows. On February 24th, after a routine performance, Tilikum pulled Dawn into the water. Witnesses say he grabbed her by the arm and dragged her under in front of horrified spectators. The struggle lasted for minutes, and despite desperate efforts to save her, Dawn drowned. The details are hard to hear. Her injuries were severe, and her death shook the entire entertainment industry. Unlike Alexis's case, Dawn's death couldn't be hidden. The show had been public, the audience had seen it unfold, and the media seized on the tragedy. Lawsuits followed. Investigations began. And for the first time, millions of people questioned the safety and ethics of keeping killer whales in captivity. The Jessica hoax spread so easily because it tapped into this very history. When people saw the fake video of a trainer being killed, they remembered Dawn. They remembered Alexis. They remembered that orcas, as beautiful as they are, can be deadly when confined. And this is where the story gets deeper. Because in the wild, orcas are not known to kill humans. Not a single confirmed case exists of an orca fatally attacking a person in the ocean. They live in complex social groups, hunt cooperatively, and travel hundreds of miles across vast territories. In the wild, they thrive. But in captivity, the story is very different. Orcas are confined to tanks a fraction of the size of their natural range. They are cut off from their pods, forced into artificial groups, and trained through conditioning. Their teeth are often worn down from chewing on steel gates. Their bodies show scars from clashes with tank mates, and their lifespans are dramatically shorter than those in the wild. This stress has consequences. Trainers describe sudden shifts in behavior. One moment calm, the next violent. Orcas lash out at each other. They lash out at their handlers. They show aggression that rarely, if ever, appears in the ocean. And time again, trainers have paid the price. Alexis Martínez in 2009, Dawn Brancheau in 2010, Kelly Byrne in 1991, Daniel Dukes in 1999. The list is longer than most realize. So when you hear about Jessica Radcliffe, understand this. She was fiction, a ghost conjured by the internet. But the pain she represents is very real. The hoax blurred truth and lies, but it resonated because people already knew orcas have killed before. The deaths of Alexis and Dawn were not hoaxes. They were tragedies that forced the world to ask hard questions. Should orcas be kept in tanks for human entertainment? Should trainers risk their lives to make audiences cheer? And what responsibility do we carry when we can find creatures so large, so intelligent, and so powerful? Since those deaths, some changes come. SeaWorld has phased out its breeding program. Trainers no longer perform in the water with orcas in the United States. The documentary Blackfish exposed the industry's darkest secrets to millions. And yet, in parts of the world, shows continue, whales remain in tanks, and the risk for both humans and animals persists. The Jessica hoax is just noise, an internet ghost story. But Alexis and Dawn were real people with real families. They devoted their lives to animals they loved, and they lost those lives in the process. So the next time a viral clip crosses your feed, remember, the truth is powerful enough on its own. We don't need fake stories to shock us. The real ones, of orcas, of trainers, of tragedy and treachery, are more than enough to remind us that nature cannot be tamed, and that captivity always comes with a cost. Because Jessica Radcliffe may be fiction, but Alexis Martínez and Dawn Brancheau will always be remembered.